Hello, I'm Catherine Spitz-Cohan, Executive Director of Film Pittsburgh. Welcome to Spotlight, our monthly series featuring an outstanding independent film and introducing you to some of the filmmaking artists behind it. This month, we're excited to share the funny short film, Are We Good Parents?, which had its world premiere at South by Southwest in 2018 and made its Pittsburgh debut as part of the opening night lineup at our own Pittsburgh Shorts later that same year. I'm so pleased to be joined by the director of the film, Bola, who recently enjoyed her TV directorial debut with Ava DuVernay's Queen Sugar on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Welcome, Bola, and thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. Hi.
It's so great to talk to you. Tell everyone where you are at the moment.
I am in Abuja, Nigeria, which is the capital. And I've been here during this whole pandemic. So just hanging out until things clear up.
You were saying to me earlier that you had taken a family trip there just around the time everything shut down. And so, it's wild how this pandemic has played out. There's been terrible things associated with it. And then there's also been gems, little nuggets of positive opportunities, at least I have found. So at least I'm glad you're there with your family and able to enjoy each other. So tell us a little bit about the film, Are We Good Parents? As a parent myself, I think I'm constantly asking myself that question. So I think the title of the film is perfect. But tell us a little bit about the film and how it came to be.
Yeah, I thank you for saying that. And yeah, I do have these little nuggets of being able to watch cinematography panels and watch writing tips, go down the YouTube holes of really analyzing film and stuff, just being nerdy. I'm just learning that I'm way more nerdy than I thought I was. And I'm here with my family. I'm here with my family, and my two little nieces are adorable, and I never get to see them because they live in Croatia. So it's nice to see them, because if I was in LA, I wouldn't see them at all. But anyway, yeah, Are We Good Parents came out of, it's just an idea I had after doing The Water Phoenix, which was my first short film, super big, super ambitious, had VFX, underwater stunts, all the hard things. And I was like, let me just do something a little easier, something that has 2 or 3 people in a house. And I was inspired by my little sister who'd come out to me when she was 19. And I'd always thought it was so strange, because for me, I never felt like we created an environment where she wouldn't feel comfortable being herself. So when she did come out, it felt sort of wait, but why did you think I wouldn't be okay with this? And if you didn't think I'd be okay with this, why? It freaked me out. And so basically the parents are just me and my sister. I'm 7 years older than my sister, so I very much felt like a parent. And so I wrote down an overview with 3-act structure, and a friend of mine helped me write it. She wrote the screenplay, Haley Chavez. And once we tweaked it, made it what we felt like was the tightest, the best, I started putting the troops together. Got a casting director, producer, DP, all that stuff. And we just went through the process, and we got so lucky with our cast because they're amazing. I always wanted it to be an interracial couple. And but I didn't think about having the dad be British. It just is because Sean is British that part became that. I was like, let's not make it American. Let's just do you. And we tailored the part a little more to him. And then Tracy's amazing, and I'm so glad she said yes. She was the perfect fit for this character. And
she was so funny. That was so funny.
They just have really great chemistry. So I don't know, I everybody wants to do something more with that movie, and I really think it's just because they want to see Sean and Tracy together again. That's really what they want. And then Gabrielle Sky Goodman, who is just a gem. She nailed the daughter with just that nonchalant parents be crazy attitude. So that's how it came to be.
Well, it was great. And how long did it take to shoot it?
We shot in one day.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Shot
Yeah.
all in one day. It was a pretty tight schedule because, you know, I was just trying to make it easy for everyone because it also just was like trying to figure out how we can do it on a budget, you know, like every other filmmaker is trying to do. And we shot in my producer's house. Like we just shot, so that
That
was,
was
location was
nice.
for free. You know,
I,
bed,
I
borrowed,
was
and
liking that
sealed.
kitchen.
So thank you. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the totally, like, she's so great. My producer, Tati, like we call her Tatiana, and she actually provided like another friend who was going to offer her place. So I really had like two free like options. This is how you have to get yourself a really good producer. Like that, if there's any key for any filmmaker is like find yourself a really good producer, which is hard because it's not a paid job. It's like you're putting as much effort as the director, and sometimes you don't get as much praise for it, but you're very much just as integral to the process as you can already hear. So but I saw her wall and I was like, that orange wall is their wall. And yeah, the kitchen, the island, and then we had just begged, borrowed, and stole like props and set dressing, you know, like just put it all together. And through like I had some friends who would donate like 2 hours to helping us put it all in the house, and then come after we finished shooting and 2 hours to take it all out of the house. And it was pretty amazing. It was like one of those magical things that never happens. And I, you know, I'm so lucky that I had a really great group of people around me to support me.
And can you talk about getting into South by Southwest?
That was amazing. Like that was, because again, it's like one of those pipe dreams. There's so many film festivals, their acceptance rate is so low. It's almost like you have a easier chance of like walking down the street and getting hit by a car. I don't know why that's the analogy. That shouldn't be the analogy, but it's hard. So getting that email of them inviting Are We Good Parents to South by Southwest, it very much felt like, oh, this is like things are about to change, because that's where you really get the stamp of approval from industry-wide people, and you get to meet a lot of really great filmmakers. Like as much as those film festivals are really cool, like I always walk away, the filmmakers are the best part of those film festivals. So it was being inducted into a new community is what I would say.
Talk about some of the work that you've done since then and whether it came directly out of that acceptance into South by, but I mean, doing something for Ava DuVernay, who is really just such a shero in my book, you know, so incredibly talented and such an awesome career. And I'm so thrilled that she gets to do the work that she does. But talk to us about that and about Queen Sugar and what that is.
Yeah. South by is, I mean, no one film festival can make your career. There are tons of directors or filmmakers who have been to these really big festivals, and nothing really happens afterwards. It's like, it's this sort of this misconception that all I have to do is get to this thing and then suddenly everything happens. It's like,
Right.
it's really not that. You know, I'd spent 13 years in the business already, in the filmmaking business, as a PA, as an AD, production assistant, and assistant director, and assistant to a showrunner. Like I'd done so many other things and sort of laid the groundwork to learn my craft and get to know people, be in a different network. And so, like I said, South by Southwest was a new like filmmaker community that I hadn't really been able to get into before or really experience. So it was really that, on top the exposure that you get from South by Southwest is really great. Like people are paying attention. They want to, especially if they really enjoy your film. And because Are We Good Parents is a short comedy, you know, it brought this sort of like happiness to people that I really didn't expect. Like you just sort of make it and you hope that people get it. And the way people really embraced Are We Good Parents was really awesome. And so out of that, I think it was getting into other film festivals, really having the film show in other places, and places that I wouldn't expect, you know, like Pittsburgh, you know, Film Pittsburgh, and in Cleveland and in Milwaukee. I went to Milwaukee for that film festival. It was really great. And just going to all these different places, meeting different people is part of just any film festival circuit that you do with your short film. So one of those places was the AT&T Film Awards, and Ava was the host for that year. And so she saw my film that way. And so the following year, luckily she, liked me, liked the film enough to give me a spot on Queen Sugar, which traditionally only hires women directors who've never directed TV before, or if you've only directed one, you're still eligible. And so luckily I was eligible because I hadn't directed one yet. And I really just needed that stamp of approval from someone who didn't already know me to be like, all right, this is really happening. Like, okay, we can trust you. Because after Queen Sugar, I started to actually book some more work. And again, I'd been laying down the groundwork for a while, going through general meetings with executives, and I did 5 directing programs. I did AFI, Directing Workshop for Women. I did the Warner Brothers program last year. We for She is another program, the Ryan Murphy Half Foundation program. Yeah, it's not and I always want to say that I always want to be very upfront, because I know that when I was looking at, people that I was inspired by, it always seemed like it kind of came out of nowhere, or it was like one thing and suddenly they were huge stars. And I just want everyone to not even just be realistic, but understand that it very much is a journey, and every piece of that journey is what's going to make everything pop at once. So people that I met as a PA 12 years ago suddenly have become mentors, but we only had that established relationship because of meeting and working with each other 12 years ago, which makes it a lot easier for them to support me because they already know me. So it's just sort of the preparation meets luck sort of thing that happens.
Right, but it's hard work. There is no such thing as an overnight success.
Yeah, exactly. So,
can
but
you
that's
talk a
how it
little
ties
bit?
in.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about mentorship and the value of that in your life, and also just taking a little bit further?
Yeah, so mentorship is really important. And I mean, obviously, I feel like used to call it, apprenticeship, right? It's that's sort of obvious. There are other trades, other businesses where that's very clear, a clear part of the journey. And I don't know that it's as clear in film and TV. It's sort of like you have to just make something and suddenly you're, like I said, a big star, which is not really true. My journey, my mentors have been such a linchpin when it comes to actually moving forward. And on top of that, it's not just them mentoring me. I feel like a lot of minority artists, not just directors, but actors or, writers, anybody who is a minority in this business, you often do have some opportunities to get mentorship, on a certain level, on a certain stage, but it rarely rises to the point of sponsorship, which is actually where the jobs come from. Somebody actually calling and on your behalf saying, hire this person. I know you can trust this person. They're worth the chance, really rooting for you in a tangible way. Because if we just what happens is you end up, like I said, I did 5 programs, and it's like you just keep getting these internships, which is I'm grateful for the opportunity to show what I can do, but I also have to eat, and some of these things don't really pay at all. If they do pay, it's not very much. And we don't have the foundation traditionally to just rely on our parents to pay our bills. It's just not there for us like that, and I did lower my lifestyle enough to try and get by on very little, but it's very, very difficult at a certain point, and you kind of put your life on hold. So anyway, just sponsorship, I think, is a key position when it comes to actually making meaningful movements in the business for minorities. And once you do that, it then becomes obvious that, there's no longer an excuse of, I don't know any, you know, like I don't know any Asian American filmmakers. I don't know any Southeast Asian filmmakers. The thing is, you haven't really opened up your world to see them because they exist, and they're great because you have to be, because there's no other option.
Mm-hmm. Have you experienced, you know, what are your experiences as far as being a female filmmaker? I find it to
Yeah.
be so incredibly, such a, I mean, this is not news, but it's so, the industry is so male dominated. So do you
Yeah.
feel like that's changing?
I mean, I do. I think we have lot of a lot of, as I said, tangible evidence. We have a lot of data that does support it is changing. It's changing slowly but surely. Like people are starting to get their first shots a little easier than they did before. And now it's like how much of that is actual retention, you know? Are we actually continuing to make that change stay and not just be a change? Like let's have it be standard. And yes, it is a male heavy industry because people hire their friends. I mean, it's mostly about commonality. Like you usually click with people you have things in common with. And that goes not just when it comes to race, but also gender. You know, a lot of girls have girlfriends, like we're all friends with women, or men are friends with men. So it's sort of, I don't think there's any room of like a bunch of older white men who are just like, how do we keep everybody out? Like, I don't think that's what's really happening. I think they're just hiring their friends. So I think we just need to like open our circles and be friends with each other. Like, it sounds so corny, but it really is the truth. Like, just be friends with each other, you know, learn how each other makes decisions, like learn who you can spend 16 hours a day on a set with, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And
Right.
so as a female on set, you know, luckily I've already had that culture in me because I've been in it for such a long time already. And so I don't run into a ton of problems, but I do, anytime that there are problems, I'm already used to figuring it out, how I can either win them over, kill them with kindness, or just sort of ignore it and just do what I do and let them figure out that they really should just be friends with me because we would have a good time.
Really, you know, it's so funny, but I remember from my days in Los Angeles, you know, at the end of the day, you just want to, and I think it's the same for anything. It's hard work. Work is hard if you're passionate about it and you have a high standard of wanting to put out good work. But at the end of the day, you really just want to have a good time too. You want to do the hard work, but you want to enjoy each other's company and have a good time. And um, what are you working on now? I know you know nobody can really be doing any work, but in addition to um, you know, honing your craft, I think that's so impressive that you're taking this time to take master classes and whatnot. Um, do you have any idea about what the future for the industry looks like right now?
I mean, I think that's a big question. You know, a lot of people are very skeptical about how optimistic to be about the future, especially with such a wrench of COVID being thrown in it. I personally, even though I'm more of a realist, you know, like I'm very like got my feet on the ground, like all that stuff. I still do think we have a pretty bright future. I don't think much is going to negatively impact the industry. Like, I think it will be difficult. It's always been difficult though to make movies, you know, like movies in like the 20 million to 40 million range have slowly, you know, disappeared. That's not a secret. But as far as like TV or doing some indie movies, maybe people will invest in those a little more because it's less of a risk financially. I think that those will still stay the course. And if you look back at times like these, I mean, I know it feels very novel because we living, people living now haven't really gone through something like this, but we've been through something like this before. I mean, after World War II, after, you know, the Depression. Like, we've all had moments where it felt like all is lost, right? But if you know anything about filmmaking, that's always just the end of the third act before you get into the fourth act and things start to rise again, right? So I think, if anything else, this is our like Phoenix moment. Like, I think we're going to say goodbye to maybe how the old things were done or old ways were done, and we're going to rise way better than we were before. And I think it's going to be more powerful. There are going to be a lot more voices that we get to hear from, and ultimately I think that's a good thing.
Wow, I have goosebumps from that. That's a wonderful way to end our conversation. You are such an inspiration to me, and I am so happy that we had the opportunity to meet this way and connect this way. And I wish you so much, you know, good luck. And again, good luck, as we just discussed. Good luck includes hard work, and I'm just, I'm certainly a big fan, and will hope you keep in touch with us and let us know what you're working on, so we can help provide a platform for your work and for you. And to my Film Pittsburgh audience, thank you for tuning in today, and we will see you again next month on Spotlight. Thank you so much.
Yay, bye.